All right, let's dive right into this explainer. I know you've got a massive exam coming up on this exact subject, and honestly, my main goal today is to make absolutely sure you've got these critical communication concepts locked in, like right at your fingertips. Consider me your personal tutor for the next few minutes. We're going to go through and literally lock down every essential line, researcher, and concept you need to know. Let's get to it. Here's the study syllabus, mapping out exactly what we're going to cover to help you absolutely crush this topic. We'll hit the unspoken basics, the math of communication, the 5 roles of nonverbal cues, the 7 types of cues, key body language examples, and finally, how to master the interpretation. Starting off with Section 1, the unspoken basics, building the foundation. To really ground ourselves in the fundamental definitions, which, trust me, you will definitely be tested on, let's look at this quote from Peter Drucker. He said, "The most important thing in communication is to hear what is not being said." You might want to mentally highlight that. For your exam, always remember that the bulk of true meaning in any interaction is entirely unsaid. It's kind of hiding right there in the shadows of our words. Okay, moving on to the core definitions. Make sure you memorize these specific bullet points. First, nonverbal communication is literally just that, communication without spoken language. It involves all these unspoken understandings, heavily influenced by our cultural and environmental surroundings. But here's the absolute most important takeaway. Nonverbal signals are usually totally unconscious behaviors. They're deeply rooted in our human nature and our overall psychological makeup. You don't actively think about doing them. Your body basically just reacts. Let's keep moving. Section 2, the math of communication, hard statistics. Time to build into the exact statistics and foundational researcher names you have to know for this test. First up, focus on this massive number, 93%. You absolutely need to anchor the communication researcher Meherbian to this specific stat. So, Meherbian found that a staggering 93% of a message's effect is received non-verbally by the listener, meaning only 7% is carried by the actual literal words used. Wild, right? Now, what's really fascinating here is the exact breakdown of that 93%. This is another one you definitely need to memorize. Basically, communication has 3 aspects. 55% is visual, so things like facial expressions and posture. 38% is vocal, meaning how you sound. And only a tiny 7% is verbal, the actual words. Visual 55, vocal 38, verbal 7. Lock that one in your brain. And here's another key researcher name you'll probably see pop up on a multiple choice question, Birdwhistle. Do not forget his specific metric. He suggested that over 65% of the social meaning in the messages we send to others is communicated non-verbally. A good trick here, if you see the phrase social meaning on the test, instantly think of Birdwhistle and 65%. Moving right along to Section 3, 5 roles of nonverbal cues. You're going to want to link the researchers Paul Ekman and Wallace Friesen directly to these critical roles. They were real pioneers in examining exactly how verbal and nonverbal codes work together. Basically, your nonverbal cues do 4 specific things here. They might repeat, contradict, substitute, or complement your words. Think of it as the RCSC framework. Seriously, lock down that RCSC acronym right now so you can easily pull up all 4 functions during the exam. Next up, Section 4. 7 types of cues, the categorization. All right, get your mental highlighters ready for this one. You must know these 7 terms backwards and forwards. We've got kinesics, paralanguage, proxemics, haptics, oculasics, chronomics, and artifacts. Phew. Together, that covers absolutely everything from physical touch all the way to how we use time and space. We're going to break down the most highly testable ones right now. That brings us to Section 5, key body language examples, seeing it in action. First up on that list is kinetics. The official textbook definition you need to know is that kinetics is the way our body communicates without words through various movements. So it's the formal study of posture, movements, gestures, and facial expressions. A great way to remember this? Just think of kinetic energy, which literally means movement. When you see kinesics in action, it's instantly recognizable. Notice how just the specific angle of someone's shoulders or exactly where they place their hands can instantly communicate something like, "I'm totally exhausted," or "I'm so sorry," or even, "Yeah, we're guilty." Absolutely no words are needed. The physical movement tells the entire story. Consider these typical mappings your ultimate cheat sheet. Seriously, take a mental snapshot of these common postures and their exact psychological meanings. Arms folded tightly across the chest? That usually means unsympathetic or closed off. A rigid, upright posture basically screams high status, like, hey, I am the boss. A casual sideway lean indicates you're relaxed and friendly. And bowing the head? That is a nearly universal sign of lower status. You'll also very likely be tested on open versus closed body language. Try to contrast these directly in your mind. Engaged or open body language uses really good eye contact, a solid, confident stance, positive gestures, and smiling. On the flip side, defensive or closed body language relies heavily on crossed arms or legs, avoiding eye contact, physically leaning away, and hunched shoulders. Simply put, open means receptive, closed means protective. Okay, let's look at oculesics next, which is basically all about eye contact. For your exam, focus on the extremes. Staring and making way too much eye contact establishes dominance, disrespect, or can even be seen as a direct threat. But on the flip side, too little eye contact shows inattention, impoliteness, or maybe just shyness. And withdrawing your eyes completely, that's a clear-cut signal of submission. Next is paralanguage, which is also known as vocalics. Now, paralanguage proves that how you say something matters just as much as what you say. It includes all the non-word elements of spoken language. Think about it. How my pitch, my volume, my tone, my rapid rate of speech, and my pauses, all these things enhance the actual verbal message by adding vital nuance. Another super important key term is artifacts. Think about how a person's choice of clothing, their overall sense of style, or their specific accessories give off plenty of nonverbal cues. They give other people a pretty good sense of who you are before you even open your mouth to speak. In communication studies, these personal style items are officially called artifacts. Finally, we arrive at Section 6. Master the interpretation, the 4 rules. The test will more than likely present you with a few scenarios, so you need to know the exact step-by-step rules for accurate interpretation. These 4 steps are absolutely vital to memorize. First, always check the context. You have to interpret cues along with the situation and the verbal communication happening. Second, look for clusters of signals rather than just one isolated movement. Third, consider your past experience. Just knowing someone helps improve your interpretation. And fourth, practice perception checking. Basically, confirm your interpretations with the person instead of just blindly assuming you know what they're thinking. Just to hammer home that first point, context is literally everything. Think about how a person crossing their arms can mean, I am the boss and I am completely in charge if they're in a formal boardroom setting. But take that exact same crossed arm posture and put them in a freezing cold environment. Then it just means, I'm freezing and seeking self-protection. The context changes the meaning entirely. So, as we wrap up this explainer and you dive back into your exam prep, I want to leave you with this one thought. If Mehrabian was right, and 93% of communication's effect is entirely nonverbal, what critical, unspoken signals are you projecting into the world right now? Keep that in the back of your mind, trust all your preparation, and go absolutely ace that test. You've got this.